And boom, how we getting on, lads?
How's the
Very
form?
well.
Some good looking faces here today, I'll tell you that.
And
Thank you very much. I'm working hard at it. I'm working hard at it.
So we got DJ from OnlyCans, fucking hilarious Instagram page in Ireland. I suppose, how about you introduce yourself?
My name is Steve DeVito. I'm from Tipperary there in Ireland. And over the lockdown, I started a drinks themed page where I went live every Saturday drunk with the hopes of getting guests on and having conversations. And it's been going well. We're almost 7 months in, so it's going well.
Yeah. And who have you had on so far? What big names you got?
So the biggest name for me so far would have to be Cowboy from Hardy Bucks. I'm a massive Hardy Bucks fan, and you know yourselves, it's a big cult show in Ireland.
Fuck yeah.
And just it went from random people and Cowboy, so it happened really quickly. So kind of validated what I was doing a bit, you know, when someone like a big name comes on.
Dude, the first time we spoke to him, I was shitting my jocks, man. I was so scared to speak to someone from the Hardy Bucks.
Yeah, I
Um,
get that. Just even the conversations in the build up, like when you're DMing each other and you're kind of going,
mm.
he seems normal enough. And then when you first spot him on camera and you don't know what to say. You don't even know what to say to them. Like,
Yeah. I suppose with many people we've had on, it's kind of gone away a little bit. So, you wouldn't really think like, oh, this lad's huge, because he's only huge to a certain amount of people.
yeah,
Or same with women or whatever. Like, if I tried to get the Hardy Bucks lads on for like a Russian audience, they mean nothing.
yeah.
And because we're a majority American audience, so it
Fuck
doesn't
away.
seem to mean that much. But to us, like, it's probably some of the best conversations we ever had.
Yeah.
They're crazy lads. They're
Yes.
absolutely mad.
And how many you've had them? Have you had them all on your show? I said Barb, man,
had
Viper. Because
all of them. except for
Viper
Goffman, yeah.
has never
And the
done an
Boo.
interview with anyone.
anybody, yeah, I figured as much.
The Boo is the same. I think he actually likes his privacy. I asked him before. The guy's too busy, so don't worry about it.
But I think
If
we've
you're-
had the
That's
rest of them. We've had French Toast and Cowboy Salmon. Then we had
I-
Durkin and Buzz on. It was mad thinking about that. Fuck it, we've had most of them on.
Thomas
had
had to
them all?
remind me that Salmon was on.
Jared, we
It
were
was so
talking the other
fucking
day,
funny.
man. Jared had no recollection of ever having a conversation with Salmon.
And is he
Yeah.
meant to be hard to get on? Because originally I had messaged the $3 just to see if they'd be interested. Like I suppose how half your episodes are planned out. You go, right, well, we just chance our arm and ask this guy to come on, and you're just kind of you're nervously waiting and answering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most likely they won't respond. But sure, the ones that do are fair sound, and sure, we're having a good time.
Oh,
Yeah.
always, yeah.
Oh, but like it's like a number of games getting guests on. Like you send out how many, but yeah, like Salmon being on is just mental. That lad. I think with the $3 left lads, I suppose the best advice I can give you with them is just keep asking for them to come back, more reappearances, because it seems Cowboy is the guy who's like, oh yeah, I'll show up.
Yeah.
They had Chris Gav going fairly recently, and Chris is sound like to talk to him. But then, like back in the day, we were able to grab French Toast at one point, Sam at another. They're good lads. They represent.
Yeah. And like, did you have them all on at different times? I know because the first I seen of your podcast, your shows, I was just going on YouTube and scrolling away. Like most of the stuff I use on my personal YouTube account would be all Irish related stuff because I used to upload videos. I was part of the little Irish community of YouTubers, so I stuck to only following those YouTube accounts. And up pops this random short of yourselves and Eddie Durkin. I was like, follow these lads. I was already
Yeah.
following Eddie, like, so I was like, fucking hell, like.
Yeah. Oh, he's such a sound lad. Getting Eddie on was a trial by combat, man. That took forever.
Yeah.
He was doing a show one day, and this is when I was like, I just finished Hardy Books, and we just started the podcast. And anyone who was like a lad in the commercial is famous, anyone has you starstruck. And one of us sent a fiver into his show and was like, would you get on our show sometime, like? And
Paid him.
then he said, yeah, man. It's fucking sound out. And then there's a period of silence and scheduling problems. We finally got him on, and good lord, he's a sound lad. I'd love to have
Yeah.
him on again, but he's a busy man.
Yeah, because he's gone into the acting side of things now. I know with COVID and stuff, but that was it kind of turned everything upside down on everyone. But he was talking about getting into the acting side of things for a long time. And I was surprised to see him on a few shows. He's been on a couple of podcasts like in the last year and a half.
Mm. Yeah, well, there's
Yeah.
so many have appeared, like, but unfortunately, your one seemed to like disappeared. The broadcast.
Yeah, the broadcast. I just say you two boys don't live together, and you're doing the podcast remotely.
Yeah.
Well, I lived with the guy I've done my podcast with, and we still couldn't get down to sit down at a table and record. Once a week was the plan, but like you know yourselves, as hard as it is to do remotely, it's fucking even harder to do it when you live with the person, because everyone's got different schedules, and it could be as simple as me saying, "Will we do it today? We're both off work," and he's like, "No, I'm gonna sit in my pajamas today and watch some movies." And I'm like, "Yeah, can't fault that. Work away, do your thing." So it could be hard, like, but eventually we both moved out. We're both in relationships, so we moved out, and new jobs, everything, and we just said we'd leave it too because there was a third guy involved. His name is Danny. He was doing the sound for us, so he just sit in the room on his phone. Once the levels were checked, we never edited the podcast. We just recorded from the start. We do the intro. It would just end, and Danny would just bounce it down and make sure the sound sounded all right. He never had to edit an episode, and we were still getting him to come in and do it for us because we just didn't have the laptops for it. We just never invested in it, and eventually, I suppose it died off. But both doing our own thing now, and as I said, I moved on with OnlyCans, and he's doing his own thing. He's a personal trainer, and I don't know if you've ever seen those clips of, those it's called like mace training, like a big heavy metal stick with a big iron ball at the end, and they're just spinning it around their head and doing all these mad fucking movement. Yeah, that's what Tom was after going into. So that was always his passion. Because even on the broadcast, I'd be talking about these random mad stories of like a woman in America who fell in love with a fucking theme park ride, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's talk about this week's UFC." So there was a mesh of topics, and we're trying to squash it into a 45-minute show. So sometimes it got a bit messy, but that was a bit of crack, and it was a learning curve for what I'm doing now with OnlyCans. So I know how to do certain things a little bit better when it comes to scheduling the shows and trying to get guests on. Because now it's just a case of going at the start. You see the first few, I go live and I just invite in whoever was randomly or even they didn't ask to come on, bring them on. Be fucking 6 dudes at a house party. You never know what's going to happen when you invite people on random nights out and it's drunk. But so far, no incidents and just a bit of crack. So hopefully, long may that continue.
I remember,
Yeah,
Martin did that before, like Eddie Durkin, and he had a lad go in there who was absolutely minced. I remember, like, he was so, I don't know what, like, if he's on drugs or he was just drinking, but this guy was so fucking out of it. It's been a while since he's invited people back into the show, like, just openly. Yeah.
That's pretty smart as well. But, it's risky. Big time, it's risky. Like, as I said, you don't know what anyone's up to. As you said, they could be drunk, they could be taking drugs, they could be doing whatever. But like, if you like pre-plan it, then it becomes almost. Some people find it tedious because they're saying like, "Oh look, he's planning out his guests, and if I already know who's coming on, I'm not going to watch the episode." Do you know, if they don't like the guest I'm trying to bring on or whatever? That was always a kind of a thing in the back of my mind. But it's going well so far. Like, I'd hate to bring on someone that half the audience didn't like, because it seems to just be people who drink, that kind of session culture. Mostly follow my page. So if I bring on a fucking, I don't know, a librarian who's just been like, "Oh yeah, I tried acid at age 20. This is my outlook on acid." People aren't going to want to watch that. Well, some people might, because acid is fucking. I suppose that's a bit of a sesh culture.
We've had episodes like that where it's done pretty well about people just talking about the drugs they did.
Top two episodes are from drugs.
Yeah.
You know,
Not a bad shout.
I think that's the only two we've done on the topic of drugs. So there you go. Yeah.
You ever heard of Salvia, man?
Oh God.
I've never taken it, but I've heard of it.
You heard of it? We had this lad on, Steve was on, and he inhaled a fuck ton of it. And next thing you know, he was living in the body of another man for 8 years, psychologically. And then he woke up 45 seconds after he took it. He had passed out, apparently. And did you say he pissed himself, Jared?
He shit himself.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
And he lived 8 years.
He passed out, shit himself, and it was at Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner. He was a Mormon at the time, so he wasn't supposed to do any drugs, but he came out of it a complete atheist. And
and also learned how to play the ukulele.
Yes.
In like 45 seconds. Perfectly. Never played it before.
Yeah.
I know, right? He does it he's a comedian now, and he does it on stage. Plays
he's mental. He's mental. I
You'll have
love
to
Steve
send me. You'll
Cantwell,
have to send me the link to that one. That's fucking gas.
dude. It's like I think that the reason it did so well is because there's like this is just going everywhere. This story, it's just
Yeah.
it's
There's
an
no topic.
emotional
It's
roller
just
coaster. Yeah,
look
because
well.
there's times you're feeling bad for him, and there's times you're like, holy fuck.
It actually makes me scared to do fucking that drug anyway. I mean,
Yeah, I'd be dodging that one.
seriously, fucking hell, 8 years. And we've heard other stories of people being like paint on someone's house for
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah,
Like they were a
'cause-
layer of paint on a barn, or they were what was it? Some other ones. I think someone told us they were like a shoe.
Yeah.
We could have been fucking around. And
One was a
messing with us, but
wrench in the
that's it,
toolbox
yeah,
that never
wrench
got
in a
used.
toolbox.
As in, this is like their experience with the same drug, Salvia.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to. It can give you like a mild high, like weed, or it can give you a life-changing experience where you're an object or another person. Like people have done it and said they were like a Native American woman when colonialists came over. They've done. Well, people have just been objects. Like some guy said, like he was a strip of paint on a barn for like a long ass time. You know, shit like that. So.
That's. Hey, do you know what? The person who invented that OnlyCans game was on Salvia. I guarantee it.
I tell you.
That makes sense.
Yeah, actually, that's something I want to get your fucking perspective on. The OnlyCans game. Considering you started this whole OnlyCans thing, I think that was ripped directly from you guys existing.
I would love that. I would love that claim. Like, but it's you know what's funny? It's I actually when I made the page, I made it. What are we? We're 2021 now. We're fucking talking end of 2019. I think it was like August. No, it was actually April 2019. I put up a tweet and because OnlyFans was kind of the last 2-3 years has kind of massively jumped into the pop culture sphere of as soon as a young one turns 18, she can make a fucking fortune and buy a house. Saps like me have to work fucking 30 hours a week to pay my rent.
It's weird.
You know? And it is weird, but like it started out like this big comedians were on OnlyFans, and now it's just associated with adult content, which is fine. And I made a joke like, I was like, oh, fuck OnlyFans. I'm going to start my own website called OnlyCans, where people pay me to go drink at famous locations across Ireland. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make, and then I made the page, and I was like, I had never uploaded anything. So that was in April 2019. But I remember the Guinness guru made his podcast was called the OnlyCans Podcast. And there was a back and forth between us. He just messaged me to give me the heads up because we had the same name, and I just started doing my live streams. And he was like, I don't want anyone thinking I'm robbing your name or anything. And I was like, don't worry about it. You do your podcast, and I'll stay getting drunk on Saturdays with random people. It's fine. But that's the problem. I wanted to say that as well. It's always a problem with when you have an idea for something and you don't do it. Like I had that back in April 2019. I uploaded my first. I went live in January 2020. So like I waited nearly a fucking year to do it. Whereas when Dara had his idea for the podcast, he was prepping that with artwork, intros, everything, all his guests lined up, and he was ready to launch by November. But all I did was make a joke and make the page and have the name. Whereas he had put in work thinking no one else is doing this, and I'm doing the same thing. And all of a sudden, we both knew the same guy who was like, okay, I'm going to message the both of you and tell you both had the same, essentially the same idea here. And then I had people message me saying I was stealing some other girl's joke, but my joke predated her joke on Twitter, and then they blocked me. And I was like, well, that's what happens when you get hit with the fucking truth. So you're a weirdo, don't message me again. Like,
yeah.
And it's just one of those situations, you just jump off with it, and like you said there, like, oh, the OnlyCans game. Like, I would love to be told someone ripped off me. I think that's fucking. It's flattery, the highest fucking level. But
I think they did because you're like. As far as I'm aware, and I obviously having you on, I took a wee gander. You're the first mention of OnlyCans that I could find. So,
yeah,
like I'm sure it's an easy fucking joke. Like
yeah,
it's an easy one to find,
Yeah,
but,
the joke has been made a million times at this point.
No one had ever done anything with it, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I got
unlucky, but
Hey, there's an Australian guy who does it, and it's called Welcome Back to OnlyCans, but it's his own username. So let's just say his name is DJ DeVito. His TikTok name is like DJ DeVito. He's a guy at work. He goes, welcome back to OnlyCans, and does like a minute review of a can. But he has the logo that pops up on the screen says OnlyCans, but he doesn't have the username branded or anything like that. It's just like a joke,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's a small thing. Doesn't really bother much of us.
Branding is a weird thing. I know a guy, and he set up a podcast called the Doghouse Podcast, and it sounds like That's probably something that hasn't been used, but it was nailed like 3 times beforehand.
Mm.
We were very fortunate, awfully Irish. No one was ever going to put the pun of being in awfully and then
Yeah.
awfully Irish. That thing was, you could wait another 1,000 years, it'd never be done. We pulled that one straight out of the ass. OnlyCans, unfortunately, man, that's just fucking low hanging fruit. But I
Yeah,
reckon
yeah.
you're doing good with it. And I reckon it's going to keep going up and up and up. But it is
Yeah, like
unfortunate, the branding bit.
like you say, it's down to the brand. Like, I mean, have you ever had any wrestlers or anyone from the wrestling scene on your podcast?
Well, we had
Like
a female wrestler, Kat Von Cage. I think she's amateur, though. She's
like a
Welsh.
pro wrestler, yeah.
We haven't had any pro WWE lads on, though.
I was just someday, lads, keep the faith. I was going to say there's Session Mock Martina. Have you ever seen any of her stuff online?
No.
It's like
I like her already though.
Yeah, she's great. She was in the Irish wrestling scene. She's still in the Irish wrestling scene, but then she broke over into America. She basically is a session moth. So she's the girl who comes out with cans and big bag of cans, and she's wrestling men, and it's a great gimmick. But she put up because now that the page is like over 2,000 followers, people always send me stuff when they see things on the internet, like, oh, this lad's after robbing. But I'm always saying to them, like, no one robbed anything. But she made a T-shirt on, like, I think it was Redbubble, one of those straight to print sites, and it's basically just OnlyCans. It's the OnlyFans logo, but similar to mine, but it's just OnlyCans, and that's just, it'll be a once-off thing. She'll set it for a couple of months, and that'll be it. That'll be done with. So small things like that are going to happen. Like you say, low-hanging fruit. It's an easy joke to make. Like,
but what happens when someone looks up OnlyFans? Like, from that, like, are they going to find you for or OnlyCans? OnlyFans, different thing. If someone looks up OnlyCans and they find you, man, that's fucking not too bad. You want it to kind of like be the number one thing that comes up, like.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the most active, like, I started hashtagging OnlyCans, and then, as I said, Dara, the Guinness Guru, he made his podcast. So if you type in the OnlyCans hashtag on Instagram, you're going to find his clips from when he had the podcast. You'll find all my pictures, because every one of them, everything I've ever posted, 85 posts have the hashtag OnlyCans. And you'll find, like, a lot of women who are putting up promotional stuff for their OnlyFans, but you can't hashtag OnlyFans on Instagram, so they hashtag OnlyCans. So it's a lose-lose. Just like all my content in with all these women, and then Dara's as well. But
maybe it's a win. Maybe some lads just, I don't know, he's sitting up on Instagram at 4:00 in the morning. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm not good anyway here. OnlyCans, what's this about?
Yeah, exactly. I probably already pulled in a few followers just from that, actually.
There you go. No one will ever admit it. It's always like, oh, I seen some of your memes.
Yeah. It was your memes that brought me in.
Yeah. I mean, what do you want to do with OnlyCans? Because, like, are you just going to keep doing it on Instagram? Like, it's kind of dodgy to keep all your eggs into one basket.
True. And good question with what I want to do with it, because everyone always says that, like, oh, it's like this person has a hobby page, and all of a sudden he has 9,000 followers and a sponsorship from Powers Whiskey, and you're going, well, why aren't you doing something with that? It's still just a hobby. If somebody wants to fucking pay me, I mean, anything, I'll probably walk out my job the following morning. Even if the payment is sponsorship like €20 voucher or something, I'm like, I'm quitting my job and doing this thing full time. Because when you get your first like that, one of a mate of mine, he got a Powers Whiskey thing. That's if one company is interested in paying you one thing or giving you one thing for free, you have to really press on it, because if one's willing to do it, there's more, and eventually you can turn it into a full-time thing. Like, this guy reviews whiskey and stuff, and I have another friend who reviews he reviews fucking pints. Just loads of them are reviewing pints. But you walk in, you get a pint, you tell them what you're doing. It's a page. You show them your page. They're more like, they're probably going to give you one for nothing anyway. Go, do you know what? That one's on us if you give us a good review. That's why I can't do beer reviews in pubs, lads, because if the pint was stink, I'd be like, the worst pint I've ever had. Then I'm barred from the pub, probably get a box and a bowl off the bartender. I'm never allowed back. So,
yeah.
Fair play to those boys out doing those pint reviews live. That's something I won't do with OnlyCans. What I want to do is visit pubs and visit towns and stuff where some of the followers on the page are from. Meet with them, have a drink, do some content that way, like challenge them to beer pong and stuff. So then the YouTube side of things would kind of start to grow from there.
Maybe not a bad idea.
Actually,
dude, I'm looking to head to one of the next 3 Bucks Left shows, the comedy shows. I think I don't know if you ever go to one of those things. I think we should do a pint review together. That'd be a good idea.
Jesus, if we'll do a pint review, I'll bring the beer pong table. One of the boys I know, he drives. He's kind of, I met him in college. He's a videographer, a photographer, and he'll definitely come with me. Should we do 2-on-2 beer pong or something?
There you go.
Listen, I don't want to brag here.
Got all
or
the
anything, man.
equipment back there.
I don't want to brag, but we're pretty fucking good at beer pong now.
Lads,
I'm putting it out there.
Thomas, do you see the last time I played against someone? I got
Right,
fucking
so
slaughtered.
so I'm pretty good, and I'll bring my friend who's even better than me.
I'm good at darts. That's about it.
I like to think I'm pretty good at beer pong. I actually have a beer pong trophy in my spare room. So don't make
That's
me bust it out.
How'd you get the trophy?
I set up a tournament and then I won it.
Rigged.
It was kind of like a fix, but like, be grand. I'm actually going to Owen in October in Dolan's. So hopefully, as things ease up and there's more concerts and stuff, and $3 start another tour, 100%.
Yeah,
definitely up at one.
Definitely, that's one thing I'm looking forward to. Like, we've met so many people. Like, you just love to actually meet them. It's one thing to do this, but it's another thing to like have a pint or
have a chat off the camera and off the recording, and just you'll probably have and it's have conversations with people and with the idea to have more collaborations down the line, and then everything that's happening, say the Off the Irish podcast, OnlyCans, all these other pages that are interacting with each other on Instagram and YouTube, Facebook, the collaborations take home. That small little community of online creators who aren't necessarily influencers start to build their own followings, because like I've said it before, like there's I think the agencies need to pull the finger out and stop just throwing all the money at these young ones and young lads who just do makeup reviews and dress up in clothes, and you go onto their pictures and you hit the picture and it's like 19 products just jump out at you to buy every single one of them, whereas the likes of the stuff that we're doing, it's like you're interviewing, like you say, you've Cowboy on from Hardy Bucks. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're just trying to have the crack with someone who made a cult show or was part of a cult show. You guys done the interview with what's his name? I feel terrible now because I'm gonna be watching the UFC all weekend. Bruce Buffer.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
If I hit the picture of your advertisement for it on your page, nothing's gonna come out and you're not gonna sell me anything. You know what I mean? But companies should be able to go to the likes of your, say, a small niche podcast and go, oh yeah, we've seen you can actually get these big guys on. We'll sponsor you. Like a Heineken or something. Drink a Heineken on the show while you're interviewing Bruce Buffer, and we'll pay you for it. I think the agencies need to have a look at what they're doing, and eventually then we can all quit our jobs and get paid, lads. That's the dream.
That's the dream. Yeah, we got over this way. We got Manscaped over there, and we got Two Buddy down there for affiliate links. I don't think I've ever pointed those out.
I seen it recently, and I was like, Manscaped. I was like, I'm pretty sure. I didn't realize anyone in Ireland had been sponsored by Manscaped. And in Guinness Guru, the following morning, he's like, oh yeah, lads, you want to buy this and trim your balls and look well? Yeah. I was like, well, he must be the first. But obviously you were, because when I went back on your Instagram page, when I first followed you a couple months back, I was like, look, fucking Manscaped. I was trying to show the missus. I was like, do you know who Manscaped are?
You know how weird it was? They came to us, not the other way around. They asked us.
No way.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't even think we broke 1,000 subscribers. Like, no. But it was good old touch.
I think they even said we were their first Irish affiliate as well.
Well, there you go. Like, because I seen an ad and I was like, why am I getting all these ads? And then there was another company. It wasn't Manscaped. It was like their pound shop counterpart. Like the cheaper version, like the Wish.com. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? So I looked up Manscaped and I was like, oh, cool, a balls trimmer. And then I seen it was massive in America. And then randomly, like 3 days later, I seen the Guru had it, and I was like, he must be their first, because I've never seen anyone doing it on the Irish side of things. And as I said, when I went onto your Instagram page, the picture I seen or the post I seen predated Guru's video, and I was like, they must be the first. And glad you said it. Fair play.
It's a weird one.
It's weird.
We've had 3 other ones approach us, and it is like literally what you're saying, like dollar store, like Walmart kind of stuff. Like, it's not going to last. But I don't want to burn a bridge with Walmart. Throw us a few pounds, we'll be sound out. But
your room background behind you'll be kitted out with all the stuff the Americans love.
There you go, man. Be fucking tubs of macaroni and shit behind me. It'll be great crack.
I just got me phone charger, lad, so I'm on the move for 2 seconds.
He's on the move. But no, I'd love to see if they did what you're saying, they threw a bit of dash towards other lads. But I understand their perspective. Like, they're a company, they got a limited budget, they're trying to pay their staff, trying to grow themselves. But like, if you set up with like a makeup artist, you can get them to plug products, and they're making money, you're making money, happy days. You put them with us, what the fuck do I sell? Like, I've Manscaped and I've got the TubeBuddy affiliate there, you know, but if we're having like a conversation like we're having now, and I suddenly say, and now, 15% off or more with Geico, it's gonna be pretty weird.
Yeah, it is. It is. I get what you're saying in that sense, but like, I think that all that advertising money that they keep pushing towards all these like makeup artists and TikTokers and stuff, if they just had a look around, there's other content creators out there that they could easily help fund. And like, I don't remember the last, like, you can tell us. Do you know any TikTok creator who had a collaboration with what's his name, Bruce Buffer? No. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get those type of people on their content. They're going to get other TikTok creators in their bubble, in their sphere. Whereas it's like yourselves, and then you've got GP Productions. He's interviewing like WWE wrestlers, I would say, every week. His next guest is oh God, my head is fried from
that guy from The Walking Dead.
All day. He just had the guy from Walking Dead on, and sorry, he's just getting. He like Rene Dupree on. Rene Dupree was like a WWE wrestler for 15 years, and he's just casually having a conversation with him. Those kind of conversations, you're never going to get them with those other creators. I just don't think. And I think if they just threw the money around a little bit more, it would be better for everyone.
I don't know when this episode is going to come out now, but we're also having oh, right then. It'll be before the new episode comes out, but we're having a pretty big name on from the UFC. On
two big names.
Two big names, actually. Yeah.
We got one. You want to spill the beans, Thomas?
I don't. Well, we can spill the beans on one of them. We have a fighter on the card. I won't say it's not Conor McGregor. To hold your fucking arses, right? It's be a long fucking road before we get there, right? But we're having a fighter on the main card, actually. So that's pretty cool.
Sean O'Malley.
No.
People have done it.
We're also having one of the commentators of the UFC lads on.
Yeah.
Oh, go away.
Yeah.
Okay, send them more.
So, I mean, there's just three of them there. You can figure out who it is.
Yeah, send them more.
You have a guess, man.
Yeah.
We have one of the lads on. We have the drug addict, the champion, or John Anik.
The drug addict.
Jesus Christ. He might not want to come on now. Don't say that again.
Someone called Joe Rogan like a high functioning addict on his podcast recently. And he was like, yeah. It's so, at some point, like, Joe's on that kind of fuck you money where it's like, you can say what you want now and I don't have to defend myself. I'm just like, yeah, so what if I am? Yeah. He's got like that generational wealth now where his kids will be cool. Oh, fuck yeah.
Everybody wants that. Like
the Rogans will be a big name now. So they will. His kids are going to do well, I reckon.
Yeah. Hopefully one of them like becomes an action movie actor or something. So like Arnold Schwarzenegger's sons look exactly like him, but one of them's like a model. I'm like, why don't you just become an actor and do fucking movies like your dad did? It's in class.
But dude, remember how small Joe Rogan is? I don't think there's gonna be many action heroes. Like, you got like a Tom Cruise kind of thing out of his kids.
Isn't Tom Cruise like 5'2" or some shit? I'm pretty sure no one's allowed to run beside him because of his height. It's like an actual rule. You're not allowed to run beside him. Yeah, and if you're standing beside him, he's always on like a stepping stool or some shit to appear tall.
It's ridiculous for the amount of good movies he's been in. Like, you watch any of the Mission Impossible movies, you're like, geez, I'd be afraid of him if he walked into the bar. But realistically, you'd be like, oh, I hope he walks into the bar because he'd be going straight back out in his ass. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because he's only 5 or fucking 6 or something.
I got to be on set with what was it? Ridley Scott, Matt Damon, and Adam Driver fairly recently, and so Ridley Scott, he's an average height dude, but like, fuck me, does he look intimidating? You ever watch Game of Thrones? You remember your man Tywin Lannister, dodgy cunt, fucking. That's how I'd say he acts nearly. Matt Damon, he was shorter than I thought he'd be.
I'd say so.
And then Adam Driver, he was just miles off, and he was decked out in like medieval armor shit because the movie that was in it, like, fuck me, man.
Is that the one they're filming at the minute? Yeah.
Which one?
Is it like, I don't know, I want to say Enchanted or something. Am I wrong in saying that? Or?
No, it's not Enchanted.
Is it something along those lines? I don't know.
It's already been filmed. I'd say it's been edited now. It's The Last Duel.
The Last Duel, yeah. He has like, is it almost like he has a mullet in it? I seen a picture going on. The mullet's making a comeback, and the picture of him in the gear with the little kind of flick. I was like, I don't know if that's a mullet, but I can't see his head being used in it.
but it's just one of those things. Like, you know, you idolize these people, and then when you actually see them, just Joe schmoes. You know,
Yeah,
like Adam Driver still had to go to the Jackson. He still had to have the same lunch as everyone else. Like, it's just
yeah.
it's a weird thing. If you're ever around someone uh, idolized or famous.
I was an extra on season 3 of Vikings, and I got to meet some of the cast. And I remember at one point, um, it's Clive Standen, the guy who plays Rollo, he was just casually going around, like not bothered taking pictures of people. And I was like, this dude is fucking huge. And in the show, he's like the older brother, more intimidating, fucking kind of a head case. And he's just pure English accent. There you go, you know, take a picture. He's so easily. My phone was in the trailer because I was like, I'm not bringing my phone in case I break it. I should have brought and got pictures of everyone, but he was very fucking cool. But your man who played Ragnar, you see Vikings?
Yeah.
The man who plays Ragnar, Travis, he's just snorting around, but he almost had like the Conor McGregor vibe about him. Just leave him alone, let him do his thing, because he's like getting in and out of character. Whereas the rest of them, the guy who plays Floki, when he finished all his scenes on the second day, he went back to the trailer and came back in his full uniform, like still wearing the medieval stuff or the Viking armor, sat up on a little hill and drank those little small, shitty, cheap bottles of beer Dior that you get in Lidl. Him and the guy who plays terrible for character names now. I'm on the spot. Makes a difference. Him and another guy, they finished all their scenes. They sat in the hill listening to Bob Marley on a small speaker all day, drinking small bottles of beer Dior. And I was like, they're just like us. They just want to set and get paid.
Literally. Yeah, it's a cool old industry to be in, that one, the acting one. Like you get to be like around the people when you're an extra, but you're not really an actor. Like you're just kind of human prop walking in the background saying, "How are you, ma'am? I'm on camera."
And you're just kind of floating around. And like, I think I slept for 6 hours the first day because there was nothing for us to do. They were filming all the one-on-one scenes with the actual main cast, and we were all just told to be ready to get up and run in when we need you.
Yeah,
Six hours later, they wake up half us. I was like, what's going on?
You have like you have a minute's notice to be ready to go, but you might spend 6 hours doing nothing, and they pay you for the whole lot. Brilliant.
And they pay you for the whole lot. Yeah, fucking the life of an extra.
That's one thing I loved when I did some of that stuff, was like I could just work on like the awfully Irish stuff in the background, sitting on my phone, do whatever I need to do, and you know, it's no time wasted.
Oh, 100%. When you're building something from the ground up, lads, every second you get a chance. I'm doing it in work the whole time. I work in a retail store, like, and I'm at a supervisory level. But like, when people aren't asking me for help, I can put out my phone and be like, "Oh, that's a great picture of or a video of lad down in pints in 4 seconds," and share it on the page.
Yeah,
but what do a collab, man? You know who Badland Chugs is?
I'll probably stay away from the likes of those kind of dudes. I won't be able to out chug any of those dudes, man.
Dude,
I'd love to. I tag him to drink a bottle again. It's just something, you know.
We have so many people who are friends with that guy, and we've fucking tried and tried. Like, so how many people have said, "Badlands, you need to get on with these lads," and he's like, "Yeah, I will," and then like nothing.
Come here, because you said you have a majority American audience.
Yeah.
So like, on YouTube is where you're big, right? Like, and the podcast itself, like it's mad to think that like the Americans are going like, because they're probably, whoever you get on is probably going, "Oh yeah, I'm on an Irish podcast," you know, like they get hyped up for it. You know what I mean? Like because I would, if someone rang me from America, it could be a small podcast, like me and my Tom situation, we're living together, and I'd be like, "Oh, I want an American podcast, get up." I'd be delighted.
Yeah,
I'd be telling the whole town.
It's a lot of, "Oh, I've never done an Irish podcast before." It's none of that kind of stuff.
That's pretty. It's mad to think as well.
It's a handy thing because I don't think it would work if you were like, "I'm an Armenian podcast. I'm an Albanian podcast.
Yeah.
I'm a Bulgarian podcast." Like, people are gonna be like, "Okay," but you say Irish, and suddenly people's faces light up.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about us. They just kind of like, "Oh, hello."
Yeah, it's like they really want to have us on. They want to hear the accent. They want to hear some mad stories, and they want to tell some stories of their own. Whereas I'd say it's oversaturated over there. It could be as well. They probably have someone from Offaly or Tip.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's an interesting old thing, but yeah, it's been useful. With this McGregor fight that's coming up, are you doing anything special on OnlyCans?
I am. I have. I'm going to go live on, because I just broke. Are you on TikTok, lads?
Yeah, we're on TikTok.
We were doing some work on that after this, actually.
Have you hit the 1,000 follower mark where you can go live?
Not yet, no.
So I didn't realize that you even needed to hit the 1,000 followers. I didn't even know you could go live on TikTok. So I was just uploading the same videos of lads down in their pints, on Reels and then onto TikTok. And I managed one of them done like 185,000 on TikTok, and it broke 1,000 followers. So I was like, oh, I'm after unlocking something here. And I clicked in. It was like, you can go live. It's like, do I really want to? Because I know it's a younger generation. I was like, do I really want to go live on that and risk bringing someone on who's definitely not 18? Whereas on Instagram, it seems to be an older generation because we grew up using it 16, 17. Now we're all like, I'm nearly 30, like using Instagram like 10, 12 years. But it's a bit risky. I think I might just stick to uploading the videos over there and then keep working on the Instagram side of things here. But my plan was to go live for about half an hour on TikTok, test it out, and try and pull people over to the main hour-long, 2-hour stream before the fights. And then I promised about 2 months ago on one of my live streams, the next time Tai Tuivasa fights, I do a shoey, because win, lose, or draw, he does a shoey. But then the Energized, the Energized podcast lads, Ross and Barry, they were, they're like Ireland's #1 MMA podcast. And some of the promotional material they use and clips from their interviews ended up on in the last few months, some of UFC's like embedded series and stuff, where they're showing news articles, and you can actually see it's their interviews. So they've actually gotten a bit of attention recently in that sense. But they were like, oh, do it out of a can of Guinness. We're not interested unless it's a can of Guinness. I was like, fuck the two of you, because I'm like, I was just going to do it with a bottle of Corona or something like your man does. But now I'm thinking, fuck it, if I'm the Irish guy who's going to do it live, I may as well do it with a can of Guinness. So I'm not looking forward to it. But that's literally what I had planned.
Out of
that one piece of content. Yeah, and my fucking shoes are stink looking. I better wash them myself beforehand.
He's fucking crazy. Every time he does that, man, it just disgusts me. The guy's I like him. He's a really good fucking fighter, but like,
yeah,
I fucking hate every time he downs one.
I know, but it's like, I've never done one, so I was like, I might as well do one with a Guinness, and tag him in it or challenge him to do a Guinness and see if anyone else wants to fucking do a Guinness out of a shoe. I'm going to get backlash from the Guinness purists, but like, fuck off, like, it's only a drink. Do you know what I mean?
Big Guinness purists.
That's
That's
a thing, man.
It's not a thing.
It's a thing. It's a fucking thing, man. I worked in a bar. You give out a pint of Guinness with even the slightest bubble in it, they're handing it back to you, and they're saying smart things like, I didn't ask for a flake, or I didn't ask for a milkshake. I'm like, okay, man, sorry. It has to be cream on top, man, not a bubble inside.
Honestly.
And that's just a pint. That's just a pint, like. But I'm talking about, like, Dara done it. The Guinness Guru, he done a TikTok series of concoctions. Like, you're talking like Iron Brew and Guinness. He was making all these like Scotland publications. They were like, God, an Irishman drank Guinness with Iron Brew, But like, Guinness purists would say that's disgusting. It's disgraceful. I have people messaging me when I put up a new video of a lad down in a pint of Guinness in 3 seconds, and I'm like, that's an amazing achievement. They're like, no, it should be savored. It should be drank slow. He doesn't deserve a Guinness. I'm like, all right, man, relax.
It's a legit thing. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like the wine thing, but like it's specific to Guinness.
Yeah.
Like they'll try and get really fancy with it. Like, there's a slight difference between a can and, like, realistically, there's a slight difference with a can and an actual poured one. Now, at first, the poured one's better, but lads would be like, if you drink from a can, it's sacrilege kind of stuff.
Yeah, but like, what else the fuck are we going to do? We had 1.5 years, nearly 2 years of a lockdown. Yeah. I got a really good taste for Guinness pre-lockdown because I was working in construction with a few mates of mine, and every Friday, without fail, no matter what you did, the foreman bought the round of pints. You couldn't go home. You'd have to have 6 or 7, because by the time the round came back to you, you'd have to buy one because you could skimp out, because they'd see you Monday morning for work. And they'd be like, you're the guy who skimped out without buying a round. So I tried Guinness that time because the guy just bought one, and I was like, hey, it's not bad. And I took a liking to it. That went into lockdown, got cans of Guinness because it was always on offer. Then it was never on offer because everyone was drinking cans of Guinness at home. And then I bought the surgery unit. I got all the bits and pieces, just like the other Guinness drinkers. As I said, the other pages were all getting involved in all these like surgery units and jewelry cleaners, all the fucking gadgets you can think of to get the best pint. And now pubs are open. It's like, I'm going to waste about 60 quid on fucking machinery I'm never going to use. Actually, to be fair, I got gifted mine for free. So technically I'm an influencer now. Hashtag gifted. Yes, I got there.
Hashtag gifted.
It only took me 6 months and I got there, lads.
Dude.
Have you been out to a pub since they've opened?
Me, I went out the day they opened, yeah.
Okay, nice.
I'll send you a picture when this finishes. I'll send it on Instagram. There's a picture. Actually, it's a video. I think it's just a video. I'll send you the video and the picture. It's me flat out on the carpet in front of me here, hand out asleep. I went out at 2:30 when the pub opened. I came home at 12 when the pub closed. And I came in and sat down for 2 minutes, had a half pint of water, and I woke up in bed. Don't know how I got there, but she's a video of me panned out on the floor asleep. Oh, it's brilliant.
I had a similar experience fairly recently. I just turned 20, and I went off to Dublin with Thomas, and I had two friends. Like, good
Mm.
lord, I was a dead man. I was a dead man walking.
You should look 20 at all, man. I thought you were about 24, 25.
Yeah,
It's
it
the
I'm
beard,
sounds.
I
I'm
think.
not even
I
20
reckon
yet.
it is.
It's the beard. It's the beard. It's the
Yeah.
beard, yeah. So when the lockdowns first happened, did you been in pubs a lot before that?
Yeah.
No, I rarely ever drink. Like I didn't drink till lockdown. Um, like I obviously was able to. But I just said, to be honest, not a big fan.
Fuck
Um,
away.
yeah, and then lockdown came around, kind of wasn't as serious, and yeah, man, I was fucking mauled some pints, just fucking mauling.
I love that.
Yeah, Guinness became a favorite, so it did.
Yeah,
Won't drink any other beer. It was that or cider, and cider.
yeah,
You drink so much of it when you're young, like you just think,
yeah.
get
The
rid of this
cider can be,
shite.
yeah, and it can be sickening as well. Even when you're in pubs, like you're going to drink a large bottle, you can buy it out in the shop. It's like a friend of mine, he only drinks cans of Budweiser when we're out. I'm like, why? Why did you come here? You're paying more for the can. Go home and drink cans. We're here for the pints. The pints are always rotten, as opposed to your cans of beer. Okay. No,
Yeah,
cider belongs on a shelf
Don't
somewhere.
really drink pints anymore. I've kind of gotten into like Captain Morgan is really nice.
Captain Morgan.
The bad
Yeah.
stuff for you,
Yeah.
spirits now kill you, but like God, they taste nice.
dude, a bottle of Jägermeister from my 20th, gone, fucking gone.
There's like a World Rum Day on like the 16th of August, I think it is. I think it's the same day I get my holidays from work. And I had this idea to dress up like in like the pirate gear with a friend of mine, and another guy's gonna come down and film it for us, and we're just gonna test out a load of rums. And that you were asking me earlier, Jared, about doing what are the plans for OnlyCans going forward, and it's sometimes people don't want to put their face on what they're doing, so like I didn't really kind of picture myself doing a lot of YouTube stuff for it. But now I'm like, fuck it, let's just go ahead with it and do that. So I'm gonna dress up as like Jack Sparrow. My friend's gonna dress up as someone else, and we're just gonna fucking try a lot of rums and get drunk, and it'll be a bit of crack, and that's what I want to be doing.
That sounds like good crack. I'll tell you that. Dude, that sounds unreal. But come here to me now. Going back to the McGregor thing. What you
Yeah,
reckon? What you reckon's gonna happen there?
fight. I think everyone's going on about this, like, oh, McGregor's coming back, different animal. Oh, he hasn't fought since his last fight, which he lost against Dustin, and he was rusty before that. So there's only so much training and sparring you can do without going in under the lights of the UFC with a crowd this time and going, oh yeah, no, it's grand. I sparred there for the last while with a lot of lads. I think he loses again. Because even I was rooting for Dustin the last fight. I'm a big Dustin fan. I was a McGregor fan for years, but all the stuff he was doing, like allegations and stuff, it was kind of like and then he fell away from the UFC. So I was just following other fighters anyway. Big Nick Diaz fan from when Strikeforce was around. So when McGregor first fought him, but we love McGregor. And there was a few bits and pieces going on. I was like, lads, as a pure fight fan, I hope Nate Diaz wins. And then Nate Diaz did win. And I was like, yes, here we go. Now, because that's his chance to get a title shot. And it just done a round two with McGregor. McGregor won, and Nate Diaz went back on the shelf. So I was like, fuck this. Nobody gets a chance.
Yeah.
Because they had to protect the McGregor money-making machine. So
Well, they have to milk it as long as they can, because who's up and coming? Like who's up and coming in the UFC? Like you take Sean O'Malley out of it and name one other person.
I mean, they have your man Gane. Is it Gane? He fought last weekend. He's like the fastest heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's like the fastest heavyweight I've ever seen. He's like a little ninja in there.
Oh, he's
How old is Cyril Gane now?
20 something.
Oh, he's only 20. He's heavyweight.
Yeah.
Okay, he's fine. He's fine. He's gonna be there.
Yeah, like you're saying, he's so technically perfect. He's
but like
he's only like one of the only 4 heavyweights to be 6-0 in their debut. Like,
but Ngannou will kill him. Simply put, Ngannou will kill him easily. Ngannou spent 6 minutes or 6.5 minutes total like UFC times in his first 5 fights or something. 6 minutes. I spend longer than Jax. Like that man has trained his life into a mad combat sport in a short period of time as well, because he only took it up like 6-7 years ago, and he spent 5-6 minutes in his first 5 fights and sparked every one of them. The man's an animal.
Him beating Stipe was so fucking sad for me to watch. Big Stipe fan.
Oh, Stipe,
Like, yeah, Stipe said he's coming back. He's putting on more weight for it, but good fucking luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Like, there's a certain threshold you go past, and it's every punch is a knockout punch, And with 260 like Ngannou, you're basically fucked. And
Yeah.
he knows that, and he comes running at you, fucking flinging them. And yeah, good luck. Like even like past heavyweight fighters, like if you look at DC, not a chance. DC would get fucking flung about.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm not taking that at all.
As much
Absolutely not.
I love DC. Daniel Cormier is a brilliant guy,
DC
but
has
even he's
fair enough. Yeah.
he's tiny compared to Ngannou.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
tiny. I think if DC went for a takedown, we'd all be expecting that, and then he'd end up grabbing one of Ngannou's legs, and Ngannou would throw 1, 2, 3 like under. He'd just be uppercuts, and he'd just fall on his face, and the fight would be over in 40 seconds.
Yeah, because Daniel Cormier got hit with a major liver shot before, and he just stood still for about a second and a half, and that's all it took for Stipe to finish him off.
That was a great fight. Stipe literally worked that. You know what I mean? That was his game plan. Box the body off him because the man won't be able to do it. There's no muscle there.
Yeah.
No protection, like.
Dude,
yeah, I'm going to stick with the original call and say Dustin wins it. And like you're saying about all these up and comers, isn't it? Did you watch Cage? Is it Cage Warriors in Ireland? Is it
Cage Warriors?
Cage Contenders or Cage Warriors? Like
Yeah.
they have they're always on the UFC Fight Pass now. They have a really good agreement with them. So like Paddy Pimblett is one of my favorite fighters because I insulted him when we were the Fraudcast podcast. We slagged his hair. I said, "Oh, you look like Jay from the Inbetweeners," and he's like, "Jay from the Inbetweeners who would knock you the fuck out." And I was like, "Wow, it's only a joke, man." Like, but every time since when we were like congratulating him on his wins or anything, he would always reply to us as the Fraudcast, which was cool. But I think he's after signing his UFC contract, so he'd be one to look out for. He's from Liverpool. He's a very good fighter.
Yeah,
give him a shout.
I think he's going to be really good.
He could be someone you could get on. You should get him on the podcast. He'd be worth it.
Not a bad shout, actually. Pretty good one.
Yeah.
He's from Liverpool. Oh, you'd have to, I don't know, get a little dictionary there. Their accents can be fairly heavy.
Yeah, sure.
You get a translator on, man. Don't worry. We'll be
Get a
fine.
translator on. Yeah, that's it.
We've had some good old times with some UFC fighters on the show before, and it's just crazy how like chill they are. But like you see them in there, you only see them at their most aggressive, and then they get on their sound. Like Chris Lieben, he's known as Chris the Crippler, and he was doing bare knuckle boxing at the time because he finished with the UFC. He fought Anderson Silva, Michael Bisping, all that, and he got on, and he was just the chillest dude.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm training really hard,
like
making sure my nutrition's okay, and then just like, whoa. So
like, wait, what do we even ask this guy? He's so fucking normal.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they're just like a normal athlete, but ready to take a beating. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I made a joke earlier about like having a librarian on who had an athlete experience. I could bring a librarian on, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I've been a boxer since I was 9." And then I really fell in love with my passion of books. I'd be like, "That'd be a great story. You'd be a good character to have on." That's the idea of having people on as well that you don't know what they're going to say. It's a risk, obviously. Jesus, high risk, lads. But do you mind me asking you, when you're doing your pitch to these lads, are you saying it like, "Here, we're one of the best fucking podcasts in Ireland, and you've all the metrics there to show it," like, no? Or do you just go in and say, "We're an Irish podcast, we'd love to have you on sometime"?
The best in Ireland, we'd just be fucking liars if we said that. The two Johnnies have earned their spot. We're coming for it, but they earned their spot.
If you put yourselves as like, "Oh, we're one of the best," are you in a top 10 in certain categories or anything? I don't know how it works because there's obviously Spotify or SoundCloud. There's loads of different places to find it.
Most of our analytics are on YouTube, and if you compare it to if you compare it to our Spotify stuff, not the same at all. Like it's like what we got on YouTube today, we might get on Spotify in a month.
But Americans love YouTube. But that's like Americans love YouTube. They would probably go for that.
What I mean, right? And America's the place to be making stuff, man. They love watching content. They're mad for it.
Well, it's just like a huge like English speaking audience, so of course it's going to work.
And they love the crack.
And they love the crack. That's why we love them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when we pitch it, it's kind of like, "Are we getting on? Are you well?
Are we getting on?
Do you want to go for a drink?" Like, no, it's we kind of send on like, "Hi, we're the Awfully Irish podcast. Here's some former guests we've had on. We're brilliant crack, whatever." And I don't know, we never send in stats. Like we're an award-winning podcast now, but like we're not gonna put that in.
I feel like, and I was like, class.
You do too much on that, and you sound like a proper
Yeah.
up your own ass, and that's not where we want to be. Because we've talked to just random lads, and we let anyone hop on the show on a Tuesday. So in a couple minutes actually, we're doing a no live stream, but we let people hop on whenever just to have a chat with us.
You do a live stream on YouTube on Tuesdays, is it?
Yeah, it's 1 at 7, so we got about 20 minutes left.
Oh, that's perfect. I didn't realize you'd done the live stream on YouTube. I didn't know that at all. Because I only said it. I only said it recently. I said it the other day. I was like, I'm going to spend some time myself. As I said, I guess said it about 5 minutes ago about when you put your own face out there, and then people will go, oh, this is the guy because he's the face of the OnlyCans, But I want OnlyCans in a 2 years time. I want them to have characters. That's why I've built up bringing people on and then bringing on recurring guests on one of the live streams, so I can put them in the YouTube videos. So people go, hey, I really like that guy that you bring on. I really like him. Not so much a fan of you or the other guy, but I really like that guy. So then I put that one guy in a lot of the videos if the people want it. It's like building up characters of a TV show almost, So eventually I can retire at 35. I'm nearly there. I've got 5 more years. Retire at 35. Let someone else take over OnlyCans, and I just sit there with my Manscaped money.
There you go.
I accept the job offer.
That's a good old one to look forward to.
I'll take it off your hands for free.
Yeah.
Lovely job.
Yeah.
And I'll give you like a good 7% of the Manscaped take. They pay well.
I'll take 5% because there's an ongoing joke. Do you watch H3 Productions?
Don't watch him now, but
I'm not a big fan of him anymore, to be honest.
Fairly aware of him, yeah.
I was a big fan years ago when he done the video content. I don't even listen to the podcast as much, but my partner is a big fan of the Frenemies podcast. And the whole thing with the 5% has me absolutely in stitches. So I said, if I work with anyone, or if someone's coming on and we're trying to do like even a 50-50 split, I'm gonna be like, I'll offer you 5% because I just think it's hilarious. It's turned into a meme like now at this stage, like.
That whole show was fucking dumb. I never got that. I get the whole thing of like these people hate each other and doing a show that works for YouTube, but there was going to be problems somewhere, obviously, and then
it wouldn't work here in Ireland, would it, lads?
No, it wouldn't. Well, I fucking hate Jared, but like, it's
hence why you don't live together doing the podcast. You have to
exactly, I only see him for an hour every week, and then sure I'm grand.
You're just like, I don't even want to drink with this guy.
Drink with the lad. I wouldn't fucking.
Funny enough, we'll be getting mauled. We'll be getting fucking mauled for the McGregor fight. It's gonna be carnage, man. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning. That starts for us.
Pretty much.
That's gonna be.
That card's gonna be fucking long as shit, though.
I'd say McGregor's. I think the whole thing is meant to be always over at 6 a.m. But like. They're trying to keep putting the same media and promo stuff on in between that last between 5:30 and 6. And I'm like, if the fights have ended early, just put on the fight early and send people home.
Yeah.
What's it called? I remember we were watching that. Remember when Jorge Masvidal fought Usman the second time?
Yeah.
We were playing. Me and my friend.
Sad experience.
He came over and we were watching that fight together. And we had a drinking game, and it was every time they showed Jorge Masvidal getting knocked out or knocking out Ben Askren with the knee, we take a drink, and we were fucking hammered.
Every time they showed a clip.
Hammered. Every time they showed a clip of him knocking out Ben Askren, we take a sip or take a fucking shot or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what? That's actually one of those that as a drinking game works because they obviously would overshow that clip. Years ago, one of our favorite ones to play was after the game when Ireland were playing a match. For every time Kenny Cunningham raised his eyebrows when he spoke, you take a drink. Kenny Cunningham always raises the eyebrows when he talks, and the camera would be on him, and he'd do it 9-10 times. We're there taking a sip. You may as well just down the can because Kenny Cunningham can't talk without the eyebrows.
Yeah.
Are you watching the Euros?
Oh man, I'm watching the Euros. I got England in the pools, or what you call it, the sweepstakes. So I have to back them to get 160 euros, but I'm half.
Must be tough.
I'm I'm a tad bit Italian with their last name, so I'd like Italy to beat them in the final and tell your man to keep his fucking money because I don't want England to win it. It's bittersweet because if they win it out, I'm like fucking hey England, yeah, 160 quid. So it works both ways for me, like.
Yeah.
Who do you see winning? Do you see Italy winning it or England, or who do you think will get the fucking trophy?
From at this point, I see soccer is a mad game because I'd never want to say oh yeah, England should walk past Denmark. Now I did say England would beat Ukraine 4 or 5-0. Everyone was like, oh, Ukraine will put up a fight. I was like, they won't, because they were shit in the group stage. They were terrible in the group stage. They've used 4 different formations, and Zinchenko's played every position bar striker in the Euros. There's no way they're going to beat England. They didn't even test England. They had a 5-minute spell, and before the first half finished, and in the second half, England were like, okay, now it's 3-0, and we just got back on the pitch. I think they'll do the same to Denmark. Denmark don't have Eriksen. I know they're fighting they're playing with like mad team spirit because of what happened, but they don't have Maguire and that will deal with Dahlberg easily, and they've no tricky player for set pieces. They don't have it. England will beat them. I'm going to go 2-1 England. I think they will concede. They haven't conceded yet, but I think there will be. I just feel like there's going to be a penalty in that game early. Yeah, I think England are going to go down 1-0. I think England are going to be losing 1-0 at some point in that game, and that's where everyone's going to give them Denmark have done it, and then England smashed them 2-1, 3-1 by the end of the game. And I think England might actually get to the final with Italy and lose.
Yeah, Italy. I'm looking forward to it, man.
I do not want Spain anywhere near that final. I hate Spain. Not the country. They hate the team. They don't deserve to be anywhere near that final.
Yeah, no, I don't. They should have won it too many times. Fucking let someone else,
give someone else a chance.
England have never. Well, England won the fucking World Cup a couple of years ago, but like fucking years ago. But like,
if anyone deserves it, it is Denmark. And if anyone deserves it after Denmark, it's probably England. Yeah. But just for us, where we're living, it's not for us. Lads, here's a personal question. I don't know who you support, like club-wise. I support Newcastle, so you can't slag me for being a Liverpool, United, or Man City fan or any of that crap.
I'll slag you for being a Newcastle fan.
You can't. We've enough. We're tortured enough with the owner we have. But what's worse for us as Irish football fans? Liverpool winning a Premiership trophy or England winning the Euros?
Definitely England winning.
You sure?
Definitely.
I still think Liverpool winning the Premiership is a lot worse than England winning the Euros, because at least different clubs can claim players that were part of the squad that won the Euros, whereas it's just all Liverpool fans, and we're just shut up, shut up. Okay, you won the league, get over it.
They'll never let us fucking live it down.
Not at all. No. What's your story with Irish content creators? Have you had many big Irish names on the show?
We've had
Jamie J. Carr.
Yeah, I love Jamie, man. I've never met him, and I was at an event we were there together for the Creators Day. He was one of my favorite Irish YouTubers. I always pushed his stuff. I still do, because he deserved it. He's just so nice and honest. Do you know what I mean? There's no clicks, there was no nothing, because the Irish community fell apart years ago because it was just the Dublin community, and anyone who was outside Dublin kind of fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, all the events were in Dublin. You had to come to Dublin to the events. You had to have a certain amount of subscribers. It was a bit of a joke, but he always, from start to finish, and he's not finished. He's definitely, I can see him, lads, at some point, like as a guest host on the Late Late Show in like 15 years' time.
I see him doing something like we use this thing called TubeBuddy, so we can keep track of how people are growing as well as ourselves on YouTube.
Kind of like Social Blade, is it? Like similar to, I guess.
Kind of like that, yeah. But it's like built into YouTube when you install it. So TubeBuddy is the thing. If you want to use code IrishPod, helps you get started on YouTube, and you can check out other people's stats. And there's a free version too. So with that, I was able to see Jamie J. Carr stuff, and the guy has been like growing. I think he's grown more in the last 3 months than he has in the last 2-3 years.
That's
like
crazy.
He's suddenly like he's doing the stuff on Twitch now, and it's just going up and up and up and up.
Because the people who want to watch him will watch him on a smaller, I wouldn't say Twitch is smaller than YouTube. We know it is, but I'm saying, not to knock Twitch, but I'm saying, if you have a niche set of fans that will watch anything you do, you put out your name on a sock, they'll buy the sock. You know, they're diehard fans. Then you have to have a platform just for them, because at some point when they're commenting on your YouTube live streams and you're not able to see their comments because you have such a big fan base, then you do a niche one on Instagram Live or something and they're commenting, you can see what they're doing. You need to have somewhere where, like you said earlier, don't keep all your eggs in one basket, but you have to have somewhere where the hardcore fans can go, whether it's Discord or a Twitch channel or something, because they really appreciate it.
Yeah, Discord's been the one for us now, but we try to do everything. Like today, we need to get sorted on TikTok. We make a bunch of YouTube shorts, and we want to put them on TikTok as well. I think we have 16 to go through and upload, so
and upload them all.
Be fun to get done.
And have you got the same clips from the shorts? Have you put them on Reels on Instagram?
Probably should.
No,
lads, Reels in the last 8 months has gone mad. All the stuff I was putting up with the Frogcast is getting a couple of hundred. All the stuff on OnlyCans is getting about between 1,000 and 4,000. That one video I said that kind of broke me over the 1,000 follower mark. It's got 185,000 on TikTok, has 187,000 on Reels. So it's roughly the same now if the content bangs, especially with the Irish community. If the content bangs, whether they like it or not, the views are still there. I mean, I've never seen it. My biggest YouTube video was 17,000 views, and it's 7 years old. And then my biggest reel was a guy down a drink and sending me the video, and he dabbed at the end, and it has combined fucking nearly 400,000 plays on two apps. Like, I'm going, what the fuck? I don't even think the guy knows that he sent me the video like 4 months ago. I don't think he knows how many views it has.
That's just class.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, man. That's
the same for us though, because we have, I'd say our most viewed TikTok has the same amount of views as our entire YouTube channel.
wrong.
It is fucking ridiculous.
In June we got a fuck ton of views, so it's not the same anymore.
Okay.
Our top one on TikTok is 70,000. We have a total of nearly 100,000, so we're getting there.
You say you have 70,000 on one TikTok video, and you're not using it much at all, no?
No, it was just one of our early posts. It was a Bruce Buffer talking about how he fought Frank Trigg in an elevator. It was gonna do well anyway.
Of course, you hear someone like Bruce Buffer. Imagine I was going, oh man, did you see that interview on Off the Irish podcast? Ryan Tuberty was talking about fighting fucking Shane from Westlife. It's even if it was an argument over who pays the bill, the video is going to do mad numbers because it's, oh, I fought with Shane, I'm from Westlife. It's just like, hold on a second, they had a scrap. You know what I mean? Like that's why I love about that. Like you do an hour-long podcast with someone like Bruce Buffer, and you can create so much content for every other channel. And then you get 70,000 clips off a 30-second clip, or 70,000 views off a 30-second clip on TikTok. But it does more numbers than your podcast, but it brings people to the podcast. That's the whole point. I love it. Yeah, I love social media in that, except in that sense. I hate in other senses. Like, you're probably the same as me, but
yeah, the clips are handy things. Like, we can share them anywhere. Like, I completely forget why I wrote it down, but I wrote down 11 minutes and 39 seconds because I was like, we're gonna clip this. We said something that was just like that's worthy of the old clip machine.
That's worthy of something that you can clip and stick up like.
Yeah, something like good old promo bit. But yeah, you can't be like only on YouTube or something because it's a hard old bit. But yeah, you have to be on everything because you're a video maker if you're on YouTube by itself, but like you become more of a content creator if you're on everything, and you can build a community if you're on everything. If they follow you on Twitter and Instagram, they're gonna be stuck with you for a while. They unsubscribe, they're gonna see your stuff. They might come back,
Yeah.
Or they might just like, oh, they what is that? Who on? Okay, let me go check that one out. Blah blah blah.
They might not have checked your stuff in 3 months because they forgot when they followed you, but all of a sudden you've got Bruce Buffer on, or UFC fighters are going, why the fuck did I not? Why didn't I stay watching these guys? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I think we actually had something like that happen when Bruce Buffer got on. It wasn't like a giant episode. Like, surprisingly, it didn't do as well as some other videos. But we had people who like hadn't like we obviously, you're a small content creator, people's comments, whatever, and we just seen like so many like people who hadn't commented in ages come back and be like, "Holy fuck, that's Bruce Buffer." But yeah, it's an interesting old game. So it is.
Yeah, of course. But there's, as I said, like, because if you have a majority American fan base, the size of that fucking country, and the size of all that over there, like it's endless what can happen for a podcast like yours in little old Offaly.
Well, we'll see what happens. Look, we've had breakout lads in Mayo. We've had them in Tipperary for the other lads. So here hoping Offaly, little old Offaly.
Man, I love the fact that from Tip as well. Like, no matter where you're born from, you're going to obviously love where you're from. But the whole thing with there's like a slogan. It's like up Tip, up riding. I love that. And like you said it earlier about the two Johnnies, you're coming for like 100%. You should challenge them to a fucking game of beer pong, man. Two Johnnies versus Off the Irish podcast.
Johnnies wouldn't be able to handle us, man.
Dude,
hey, do you know what? I don't deny. I'll officiate. We call it now. This is what you clip later. You say Off the Irish podcast versus the two Johnnies at the Rocket Castle game of beer pong. I'll walk in with the referee style. Vince McMahon, veined arms, striped top as the official.
That's sound out, man. Let's sound out.
Bring it on, lads.
Writing that one down too.
We're waiting for you.
I'm from Tip, no bias. I'll be the fair play man. I'll call it as it is.
We'll see you, boys. Keep safe.
Dude,
at the Rocket Casual.
I would love to talk to those guys because there's so much to fucking learn from them.
Oh, 100%.
But like,
They're
100%.
legends. They are
uh,
legends.
as much as like, you could probably be like, how are you getting on, Johnny number one, Johnny number two?
Yeah.
Do you want to hop on just for a chat? Like, you can't do that. It has to be an episode.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if I did an episode with that, it would just basically be me like, so how did you guys do it like this? How did you get the Irish audience to grow while being able to go over to the States and so on? Like,
Yeah. But that's the kind of conversation you want to have in the bar over the pint after you do
there you
your
go. There you
interview.
go.
That's what I want to do. I want to be able to come up and say to you, like, I know a few. I've a small bit of family in Offaly, but I know a few, I think I know two people from there. A guy who sent me a Guinness fucking pint glass with St James's Gate Brewery on it. And so when I go there for a pint and I say, here, Evan, where are the good pubs here? I'll be contacting Jer and Tom and going, well, lads, you come down for the pints there and the game of beer pong we promised each other, because
There
I
you
don't
go.
know many people from there. And all of a
That's
sudden when I'm
fucking
there,
weird.
I put up the story. I'm with the boys in Off the Irish podcast. I'm with Evan, who's a viewer. All of a sudden, 3 more viewers might rock down, and some of your own crowd might rock down. Then all of a sudden, we're having a fucking party. But that's what it's
There you
about.
go.
I think once COVID ends, there'll be tours of Ireland for pints in places, especially from my side of things. I know I'm OnlyCans, but one of the things I wanted to say to you was OnlyCans started as an idea of me going around to all these places in Ireland, the Cliffs of Moher, Spire in Dublin, all these places, Giant Causeway, and drinking a can of beer in my jocks. That was the idea, just a picture. It was never the idea to do the live streams, a podcast, YouTube videos. The idea was just a can at one of these famous landmarks, just pull down the pants, just have the jocks out and drinking it. Because the ongoing joke I have with some friends is, "Are you coming out tonight?" "No, I'd rather sit at home and drink my jocks." And it's one of those things where I'm like, because we've often done it. Like, if I'm drinking at home, I don't need to get dressed. So
I wonder. I don't know if this is practical, but like, I wonder if you could do a series of. I know someone did a series where they went to every town in Ireland. Some kid did this, and did well for him. But if you did a series of drinking in every pub in Ireland, how many years would you get out of that?
Be fucking
And
dead.
how many pubs would eventually be looking
You'd
forward
be
to the day they
dead.
get picked?
Yeah,
You know,
but hey, that's like, I'm watching it right now. You've got, I know I've mentioned it a few times.
like
King
if
of
you did the
School,
famous
where
ones, and then you were like, I'm going to
you've done the
like
big one.
Dingle Willie in fucking Ballinasloe,
Big.
fucking, and then they're like, oh my god, we're gonna be on this. So
One of my dreams is to own my own pub, and 100% I'm going to call it Dingle Willie.
Dingle Willie.
just for that now. Hey lads, if you're ever in Tipperary, more important, if you're ever in Nina, hop into Dingle Willie. I'll start you out with a few pints.
That's a sound old spot, Dingle Willie.
Dingle Willie.
Yeah.
Lads, you come into Dingle Willie for a couple of.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Dingle Willie, a few pints.
Now, unfortunately, we have to call this to a close because we've got something going on soon. But
That's no worries at all, lads.
if people want to check you out, where can they find you?
onlycans.ie on Instagram and onlycans IRL on Twitter, because you can't have .ie as your username.
Fair
So
enough.
mostly I'm on Instagram. onlycans.ie on Instagram, that's me. And from there you can get everything else, email, all that usual stuff. And every Saturday I go live, I get drunk, I bring random people on. So if you're a person out there with a story you want to talk about, I'm your man.
There you go. So if you want to check him out, you know where to find him. If you got this far, fair fucks to you. And take it handy. Good luck. Bye bye. Stay away from yourself.